My name is Lily, and I live in Austin, Texas. I've always felt like a stranger in my own home, ever since I was a child. My mother died when I was 12. Cancer. It still feels like that word pierces my chest every time I say it. She was everything to me, my best friend, my biggest supporter, the one who held our family together. When she passed away, it felt like the whole world was collapsing around me. 2 years later, David's father remarried. Rebecca seemed nice at first, but that was just a mask she wore in front of my father. In secret, she was sharp-tongued and her laughter was even more vicious, and she was always making fun of me. It wasn't long before her daughter Sophia followed suit. Sophia was a year younger than me, but she quickly became the center of my father's attention. I don't know exactly when that happened, but at some point, I became invisible. My father was so enamored with his new family that he didn't notice how they treated me. Rebecca criticized me at every opportunity, while Sophia enjoyed making biting remarks, stealing my clothes, rolling her eyes whenever I spoke, and turning every situation into a competition she was determined to win. By the time I was in my 20s, I had learned how to navigate the minefield that was my home. I focused on work, spent hours in my room, and avoided family dinners except when absolutely necessary. But pretending there was no pain eventually led to cracks appearing. And in my house, those cracks looked like a bottomless abyss. I don't think I'll ever forget the feeling of loneliness I had in a room full of people who were supposed to love me, yet I felt completely alone. That was my life every day, living under one roof with Rebecca, Sophia, and the father who preferred them to me. Things came to a head on my 26th birthday. Birthdays haven't been a big deal in our house since my mother passed away. When I was little, she used to make them special. She would fill the kitchen with balloons, bake a homemade cake, and give me a smile that made me feel like the center of the universe. After she left, Christmas became a routine, almost a secondary thought. However, I always tried to make the best of the situation, even if it meant planning everything myself. That year, I kept it simple. A small cake, some decorations, and just my family. I wasn't expecting a parade or anything like that, but I thought that, just for once, it could be a quiet day. Maybe even a day where I felt important. Everyone was seated around the dining table. My stepmother Rebecca had her usual smile on her face, while Sophia scrolled through her phone with a completely indifferent look. My father seemed lost in thought, barely glancing at me as I lit the candles on the cake. I took a deep breath, trying to convince myself that it didn't matter. Rebecca Pickles said happy birthday, more out of obligation than genuine warmth. I smiled slightly and bent down to blow out the candles. Then Sophia suddenly got up. "Wait, I want to cut the cake," she said in a more intense voice than usual. I froze in place. "What?" Sophia replied with a tone of clear entitlement. "It's my birthday too. I just want to do it. What's the big deal?" I looked at my father, expecting him to intervene and tell her no. Instead, he sighed as if I was the one who caused the problem. He said calmly, "Lily, let her cut her hair. It's not that important. She's your sister. You need to learn to share." He participates. My chest tightened and tears almost spilled. I said, "It's my birthday, Dad, why can't I cut my own cake?" Before I could say anything else, Sophia burst out in anger. "Why do you always have to make everything revolve around you?" Then, before I could even process what was happening, she reached out and slapped me hard across the face. The sound echoed throughout the room. For a moment, I couldn't move. I felt heat rising in my face, not just from the sting of her hand, but from the humiliation. I looked at my father again, hoping and praying that he would finally do something. Instead, he shook his head. "Lily, you should have let her do that. Why do you always have to be so difficult? She's your sister. Learn some respect for family. Respect for the family." Those words had a greater impact than Sophia's slap. Across the table, Rebecca let out a soft laugh, shaking her head as if I were the conclusion of a private joke. The air in the room became stuffy. My birthday, the one day I had hoped to feel seen, has turned into yet another reminder that I don't belong here. I froze in place for a moment before calmly moving away from the table and heading to my room. Behind me, I could hear Rebecca sneering at me in a low voice, and Sophia laughing as if she had just won a crooked game. That night, I packed my bag. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I couldn't stay. I have spent many years trying to earn love and respect from people who will never give it to me. When I closed my bedroom door for the last time, I felt a strange mixture of sadness and relief. Grief for the family she lost. A feeling of relief because, for the first time, I was choosing myself. The next morning, I left before anyone woke up. No note. No goodbyes. Just the sound of the front door closing quietly behind me. It's time to start over. A year has passed. During that period, my life changed more than I could have imagined. I moved to a small apartment in Dallas and started working extra shifts at the coffee shop where I used to work. It wasn't glamorous, but it was my job. For the first time, I wasn't walking on eggshells waiting for someone to belittle me or tell me I wasn't good enough. I was free. Freedom did not come easily. At first, I felt completely unrestrained, like a balloon launched into the sky. I miss my mother more than ever. I've always wondered what advice she would have given me. I wish I could feel her arms around me and hear her tell me I did the right thing. But slowly, I found my footing. I have made friends, real friends. People laughed with me, not at me. People who did not treat kindness as a bargaining chip. I even started taking evening classes in graphic design, something I had always wanted to do, but never had the courage to try. For the first time in years, I was building a life that I felt was mine. Then one afternoon, all the memories suddenly came back. It was a Saturday, and I was rearranging my apartment when I heard a knock on the door. I wasn't expecting anyone to come. Out of curiosity, I peeked through the keyhole. My heart clenched. My father was standing there, looking exhausted and tired. She opened the door slowly. "Dad! Lily, I need your help," he said in a halting voice. I stepped aside and allowed him to enter, motivated more by shock than anything else. He looked completely different. His hair was disheveled. His clothes were wrinkled. There was a despair in his eyes that I had never seen before. She asked, "What's going on?" He sat on my sofa and buried his face in his hands. He said, "Rebecca and Sophia kicked me out. They said they were done with me. I have nowhere else to go. Lily, please. I just need somewhere to stay until I find a solution to my problems. Just to." All the memories I tried to bury have come back to overwhelm me again. Every time he would kick me out. Every time he defended Rebecca and Sophia. At every moment, he let me rely on myself. And now he's asking me for help. I said calmly, "I don't understand. Why did they fire you?" He shook his head. Things weren't going well. The financial situation was difficult. Rebecca wasn't who I thought she was. Sophia had grown up and become just like her. They didn't need me anymore. They asked me to leave. A sarcastic laugh escaped me. "So now that they have turned against you, you have come to me?" He said quickly. "Lily, I know I haven't been the best father. I know I've made mistakes. But I'm still your father. Please, I need your help." His words weighed heavily on me. I asked, "Where was this concern when I needed you? When I was begging you to stand up for me? To see me? You chose them every time." His eyes were filled with regret. "Lily, please." I continued. "You asked me to learn to respect family. So why don't you go to your own respectable family for help? Don't turn your back on me," he pleaded. I was amazed by the boldness of those words. Should I turn my back on him? That's exactly what he's been doing to me for years. I took a deep breath. "You know, Dad, I spent years longing for your approval. I wanted to feel important to you. But you made it clear that I wasn't. I chose them every time. And now you're here because they don't want you anymore. I'm sorry, but I've built a life for myself. I won't let you come back and destroy it again." His face collapsed. For a brief moment, I almost felt sorry for him. Then I remembered the years of pain. The nights I cried myself to sleep wondering why I wasn't enough. I said firmly, "I cannot help you. I hope you find a solution, but you will have to do it without me." I opened the door. He stood up slowly and looked at me one last time. He whispered, "I'm sorry, Lily, I'm really sorry." I couldn't answer. I simply watched him walk away. When he closed the door behind him, a wave of emotions swept over me. Anger, sadness, satisfaction, but most importantly, power. For the first time in my life, I defended myself. I felt as though I was regaining a part of myself that had been lost for a very long time. After he left, I sat quietly on the sofa, staring at the door. I realized that I no longer needed his approval. I was not that scared or insecure girl. The life I built was not a lavish one, but it was my life. My friends have become like family to me. The kind who show up in the middle of the night if I need them, who celebrate my successes and help me through tough times. I thought about my mother and how proud she would be of me if she were in my place. She always advised me to stand up for myself and not let anyone make me feel small. For years, I didn't believe her words. Now they have become a lifeline. Later that evening, I picked up my sketchbook and began to draw. Graphic design has become more than just a career goal. It has become a form of therapy, a way to express my feelings on paper. I wasn't just making art. I was rebuilding myself piece by piece. As I was drawing, I was overcome with a feeling of peace. For the first time in years, I was not burdened by the expectations or judgments of people who didn't really care about me. I was free. I thought of my father one last time. I felt partly sorry for him, but I knew I had made the right decision. Allowing him back into my life was like reopening a wound that had finally begun to heal. I have spent too much time putting other people's needs above my own. That night, I went to bed feeling lighter than I had felt in years. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need their love. I found something better. Myself. The next morning, the sun's rays filtered through my windows. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and immersed myself in a new project for a client. It was a wonderful feeling to work on something I love. Something that was mine. As the day progressed, I found myself smiling for absolutely no reason. I am no longer just living. I was living. For the first time, I truly felt that I was where I was supposed to be.
अंधेरी दीवारों में खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं। ये जो दिन सहाने थे उन्हीं को सोचता हूँ मैं। तुम्हारे बिन ये मौसम भी बड़ा बेसर्द लगता है। दिल का हर एक कोना अब बहुत ही दूर बढ़ता है। अंधेरी दीवारों में खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं। ये जो दिन सुहाने थे उन्हीं को सोचता हूँ मैं। तुम्हारे बिन ये मौसम भी बड़ा सर्द लगता है। दिल का हर एक कोना बहुत ही दर्द भरता है। मेरे साए भी मुझसे अब जुदा होने को कहते हैं। तुझे खोने की राहों में ये आंसू बहने लगते हैं। कहाँ जाऊं कहाँ ढूंढूं मेरा वो साजो सामा तो मेरी हर एक तमन्ना तू मेरी रूह का मका तू। लकीरों में नहीं लिखा जो तुमने ख्वाब देखा था। वफा की इस कहानी में फकत एक गम ही लिखा था। सितारों से भी पूछता है पता तेरा कहाँ होगा, मगर खामोश है दुनिया कहाँ मेरा जहाँ होगा। बस एक बार मुड़ के देख ले मेरी बेबसी की सूरत। मुझे है आज भी तेरी वफा की सख्त जरूरत। साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर। साए मेरे तन्हा सफर बस रह गया दर्द का असर, दर्द का असर।